back. It is 3 p.m. Eastern. This is the MMA Outsiders. Thank you again for joining me. We just lost Jack there for a second. He's coming back in now. Hopefully he comes in a second. I can't see him at the moment. Oh, okay. All right. So I was told to keep going. So things are going okay on his end. We are going to be discussing Noche UFC 3 today. We will also be talking about Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford as he tries to get back in, and he's here. He made it in here.
Here we go. Here we go. I
There-
don't know what was going on there.
that's yeah. I've had some playback issues the last few weeks too, where when it let me in right away. I'm glad you were able to resolve it though.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. Sorry, everybody. I was in the room and it was saying my camera and mic weren't connected. I was like, that can't be true. It's just working. So reset everything and we're in. Sorry about that delay.
No worries, man. So it's Thursday afternoon. We're officially in preview mode now. Excited to talk about some of these fights. Where would you like to begin? Would you like to begin with the squared circle, or would you like to begin with Noche UFC E3? I'll take this however which way you want to do it.
I think we go UFC first because, in my opinion, Canelo Crawford is the main event of Saturday. So I think we build up to the main event. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. So it's clear that you are definitely more excited for this UFC event than I am. So I'm gonna let you take the lead, and I guess let's start off with just talking about some of the fights that you're most looking forward to outside of the main event. And just to clarify before we get going, I'm pretty sure if my math is correct that you outdid me last week. You went 8-5 and I went 7-6. Does that seem accurate to you?
That seems accurate. And just want to put it out there. What were your contender series picks for Tuesday night?
Yeah, you beat me fair and square there. It was my worst outlook or output of the season, going 2-3. It was not a good night at the office for Mr. Zan as you did there. I guess I'll put myself in third person. It was not a good night at the office, but still an overall a solid record after a couple episodes, and hopefully we'll bounce back next week with another stack contender series card. Yeah, you definitely outdid me, especially in that main event. Um, um, I mean, you're a guy. He won on short notice, so I can't fault you for it. You were right there, and yeah, definitely a shocking night, and no question about it, the worst night of the season. Given that I had only been either 4-1, 3-2, or 5-0, pretty much the entire year leading up to this past Tuesday.
No,
So
I only brought it up because, Zan, you have been doing so good. I feel like I finally got you this week. I got you by one.
I know.
But yeah, before we start, like you were saying, my boy Stephen Concrete Asplin, came in on 5 days' notice, an underdog, and put Anthony Garasio out cold in 16 seconds. That my boy right there, and he's going to be in the UFC.
Yeah, I'm
Now,
excited. I'm excited to see what he can do on a full camp. Much less on a couple of days notice, which is
see,
pretty
that's the
crazy.
biggest misconception. That was a full camp. He was slated to fight this Friday on LFA 217 in Minneapolis versus Jordan Heiderman, a tough alum, a very good fighter. He's 7-2. So
Well,
he was
no, my point in saying it is he wasn't initially preparing for a for a UFC entry fight. Is my
Oh,
is my
100%, 100%. But my opinion for this fight, I was so confident was because I believe Jordan Heiderman, who is still fighting on LFA this weekend, was a harder, tougher opponent than anything Anthony Gracio could have done. So I was happy about that. But starting with UFC Noche this week, do you have any favorite fights on these prelims? We'll get to the main card, but these prelims are pretty weak, man.
Yeah, these prelims are not the strongest, and just to do an overview of what to expect on this card, again, it's an earlier start, 3 p.m. Eastern from the Frostbank Center. The entire card can be seen on ESPN Plus. Yeah, these prelims don't scream excitement to me, and I know you would more than likely agree. In fact, let's use the old screen share to actually take a look here. So this is what you guys can see now on Tapology. Obviously, we know what the main event is, but what do you like on the prelims?
So here's my favorite. I'm going to say a couple fights here. Fight one is the first fight of the night. Danil Donchenko versus Rodrigo Senzinato. I think this is going to be a very fun fight, and I don't think it lasts very long. I think Danil Donchenko from Ukraine will become the 170-pound tough champion of 2025.
I
I
think
also Oh, go ahead.
so it's clear we agree there because I also have him winning, as you can see. So
Yes, you do. Now, next up, I also agree. Alice Pereira versus Montserrat Hendon. Listen, this ain't going to be a good fight. It's going to be a stinky decision. I already know it. But they are two girls I like. So I am rooting for both. But I think Montserrat Hendon, the Chicago girl, she's going to get it done by decision.
I think it's ridiculous, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's ridiculous that she's not. I think it's ridiculous that they didn't at least keep her active in the Midwest, and instead they're putting her on a card like this one. I th-
I get it. She probably chose this one. She's from Monterrey, Mexico. This was supposed to be in Guadalajara. I think she's just happy to be here. I think this is a good fight. She's Mexican. She's good to go. But this
Mhm.
next fight, this is going to be a fantastic fight, Zan. Alessandro Costa versus Alden Correa. A lot of people are counting Correa out. I think Costa is going to win, but Alden Correa is as legit as a regional fighter can get. If you look at his record, he's on a 5-fight win streak, and he also, or I lied, a 4-fight win streak. And the biggest thing that people don't like on that record, you see that no contest there, Zan? That
Yep.
was a knockout win of 12-2 at the time. Paris Moran, Fury flyweight champion. If Paris won that fight, he was going to be in the UFC. Alden Correa knocked him out in the first round. And it's a no contest because he smoked marijuana. So I'm not taking that loss against from him at all. And I think those
So are you trying to say that the Vegas betting odds for this fight are just not accurate?
yes, I think Costa should be the favorite, but I think it should be like minus 170, not minus 400. I think online right now it's minus 460.
Interesting. Okay.
But it's going to be a great fight. Listen, that's going to be my fight of the night on the prelims, I believe.
Okay. And who are you picking?
I think I'm going to pick Costa, but I'm going to throw a little bit of money on Alden Correa. I like him a lot. He's a good dude and he's a great fighter.
Okay.
Now, there's a couple fights here that are, I'm not going to say great fights, but they are as memey as fights get. We've got the 17-time undisputed GOAT of getting arrested, Cedricus Dumas, taking on Zachary Reese, another meme fighter. I think the odds are wide on this one too, but I think they got it right with who's the favorite. I think it's going to be exciting. It'll be good. I think it's going to be sloppy and good, and there'll be a finish.
Yeah, I could see that too. As you can tell, I have Reese winning in the second round. I could see it being a finish regardless of what round it's in. I think it's going to be a horrible night for Dumas, and it might end up being the worst performance of his MMA career. That's just my opinion, though.
Now, I can see it too. I hope Zach Reese does well. Now, this next fight, this is my favorite underdog of the night. We're going to be different on this one. It is Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Garul, and I love Jesus Aguilar here. I think he is a very good flyweight. I think unless you are top ranked, undefeated, you're going to have to do a whole lot to beat him. And I think he beats a lot of other people. And I don't think Louis Garul is top ranked or undefeated. We just saw him get knocked out viciously by Ode Osborne. I love Jesus Aguilar here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what to expect from this fight. I don't know which version of these two is going to show up, but assuming that your prediction of a firefight comes true, yeah, I could see this one not going the distance either. I more so went conservative, just because even though Aguilar isn't really a mixed bag, again, he's one of those guys where I'm just not really sure. And unlike you, I'm not really sold on him. Maybe this fight convinces me, but I think that's where we differ the most. Is I think Aguilar is just too green at the moment. So
See, I think yeah, we're divided. I think this is going to be a submission win in the first 7 minutes by Jesus Aguilar.
really, okay.
Now in this next fight, we've got two great women. I think this should be a main card fight. They're top ranked. They're next for the title probably. You've got Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this one also. I mean, obviously both are extremely experienced. Suarez is kind of getting the short end of the stick because it looked like she was still in the title picture, and of course, obviously the UFC went in a different direction with both strawweight and flyweight. So this is a must win for Suarez. I would argue it's the same thing for Lemos, but I think Suarez has a lot more pressure on her. And I think these odds are insane. What do you think?
Yeah, super wide, super wide. But what I think is, from what we've seen from Amanda Lemos, she got dominated on the ground by Zhang Wei Li. She got dominated on the ground by Verna Jandiroba. She's probably going to get dominated on the ground by Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah, yeah, I could see it, and that's why I'm going conservative with Suarez' decision, just because I think Lemos is going to be able to survive at least 3 to 4 submission attempts. And again, I agree with you. I don't understand the matchmaking as to why this is an undercard fight and not opening the main card or even a co-main event.
Agreed.
To me, it
And it's
doesn't.
a Spanish American. What else do you want?
Yeah, to me, I don't understand why. I guess Sean Mick and Hunter thought this would be a good idea to put lower down on the card. I don't get it.
Yeah, neither do I. But next fight up here, it is it's a fun one, and we're gonna differ once again. It is Claudio Puelles taking on Joaquin Silva. I think this one's gonna be really interesting, man. Puelles has been out for 18 months after 2 back-to-back losses, but a super tough fight versus Dan Hooker, where he kind of gave up after he gave everything he had there, and then a super tough fight versus Faraz Ziam, a split decision. And Faraz Ziam has turned out to be pretty dang good.
Well,
And
if I remember correctly, I scored the fight for Puelles.
agreed with too.
I didn't think he lost.
I do too, and I think Faraz Ziam is a very difficult fight. I think Claudio Puelles, Dan Hooker's Dan Hooker. He's a top level fighter. I think Puelles is going to get this job done and pretty easily. I think Joaquin Silva has had good moments, but not really anything special there.
Yeah, I completely disagree with you. I think an 18-month layoff is still an 18-month layoff, and I think it's going to be a good fight. But I just think overall, Puelles is going to get caught with something, and he's going to throw himself to the fire too quickly and get caught with like a left hook or something. Could I see Puelles win and get off the get off the ground after 18 months off and win for sure? But Silva, I just think is due for a little bit more, and I think also what's helping him here is the huge side of activity. I mean, we don't see 18-month layoffs all that often. I
Well,
think this is
Joaquin Silva himself hasn't fought in 15 months.
yeah, but to counter you there though, 15 months is still less than 18 months, and I still think that carries at least some significant weight because that's more time that you were spending out of camp and stuff like that. I think there are more factors at play than maybe people realize. So we slightly disagree there.
Yeah, I disagree. Their last fights were within 35 days of each other, so I'm not too worried about the layoffs. I think if both of them are rusty, I think Claudio's the better fighter.
Okay.
Next up, we've got the worst two middleweights in the UFC. We've got Jose Medina versus Dusko Todorovic. Don't bet on this fight. Watch it for the fun of it. But whoever loses this is getting cut. They're both very bad.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand why this isn't opening the card. I don't know about you.
I think it's pretty fun. Can't lie.
It's a fun fight, but do people really care about two guys where one of them may end up getting cut? I feel like if you're a hardcore UFC fan, you'll watch it. But if you're a casual UFC fan, this fight is not one that you're going to get your popcorn ready and sit and watch. I don't think.
See, I think this has a finish written all over it, so I'm excited. But we're both going with Dusko Todorovic. But you're going decision.
Hmm. I think it's going to be. You think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be really boring, and it's going to be a lot of feeling out. That's what I think, and not a whole lot is going to happen. And I think a few takedowns are going to make the difference.
I
So,
totally can see it. Next
mhm.
up, we've got debuting fighter on short notice, Santiago Luna, great name, versus Quang Bang Lee. Very interesting fight. I think I'm going with the debut guy by decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm excited for this one overall. I just think Luna is one of the better prospects out of Latin America. What's not to like about a guy who's never in a boring fight? Tapology, he sees this being really close, but I see him remaining undefeated. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think it is. It could be very close. I think. I think what's going to be the biggest difference if Luna could take Quang down. I think on the feet, Quang is pretty good. And I think if it gets to the late round 2, round 3, and Luna's tired because it was short notice, Quang Lee could be start putting it on him. But I'm going with Luna.
Yeah, and Tapology seems to agree, as you see right here, 52% to 48%. So we shall see.
Now, next up, this is my most, besides the main event, my most anticipated fight of the night. Diego Fajeda versus Alex Hernandez. Two guys who were at the Chicago pay-per-view for us. But man, I think Diego Fajeda is one of the most underrated UFC fighters in the promotion. And I think Alex Hernandez is good, but he will always find a way to sell. And I think Diego Fajeda is going to run through him.
Really?
Take him down. I think if you're listen, I think his last fight decision loss to Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson is an elite fighter. That's what I believe. Going like tooth and nail, like to the death with Mateus Rebecki, one of the hardest hitting and explosive 55ers in the world. And young too. Fajeda's old, and he did this recently. And he went life and death with him and beat the brakes off him. So I love this fight for Diego Fajeda.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I just think experience. I just think I don't know. I just think Hernandez to me is a little bit more momentum, and I think Fajeda finds a way to gas out. That's what I think. I think it goes exactly the way you're saying, but Fajeda finds a way to gas out, and his arms are going to be done after the first round, and it's not going to do him any favors as we get into 2 and 3. So I could see it going the way you think, but I think Hernandez is tough enough and has fought a lot of veterans to where he should be able to survive the early storm and beat Fajeda. So we slightly disagree there as well. But that's what makes this thing fun because by the time the fights actually happen,
No one
we
knows.
actually get to see who's right and who's wrong. So
Mm-hmm. See, I disagree again. Slight disagreements there. Hernandez is a death gasser himself. Like I think it's gonna be fun. I think whoever outdogs the other is gonna get the job done.
for sure.
What do you think about this next fight?
I think Kelvin Gastelum is fighting for his job. That's what I think.
I agree. And I think he's gonna get the job done, man. If he can defend the takedowns of Stoltzfus early, I think he's gonna put him out.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'm going more conservative here. I think it's going to be. I hate to say it. I know you're. I know it seems like you're going on the finishing train here. I just see this card dragging, and I just there are so few fights to me that jump off the page as possible finishes, and maybe it's just me looking at the fights a little differently than you, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I can trust Gastelum at his age to get a viral finish or anything like that. Stolzfus isn't bad, but he definitely isn't living up to the expectations that people had for him a few years ago. I think regardless though, I think Kelvin Gastelum gets it done, and I don't even think it's all that close.
Neither do I. See, my thought with all the finishes, I think when a card is worse on paper with worse names, that it's all kind of lower level, the gaps of skill is wider than when it's good. So when it's a bad card like this, I'm betting on it's two guys who are low skill, but there is a gap. And also, the last Noche was so bad, such a drag, that I think this year's going to be popping.
Okay. All right, let's move over to the Jared Gordon fight, shall we?
Shall we? Let's go.
Okay, so we got Jared Gordon taking on Rafa Garcia. When's the last time you saw Jared Gordon in a boring fight? When's the last time you saw Rafa Garcia in a boring fight? I think this has fight of the night potential written all over it. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's going to be gritty and grimy. But these betting odds and people picking Gordon, I am too. But it's so wide. I cannot believe it. This should be a pick 'em in my opinion.
I agree. This is no disrespect. I just think some of the odds makers have not seen enough Garcia tape. That's my theory.
I
Like
agree.
there are people in the know like us that know how good Garcia actually is. But I think if you're just looking at a capper who, does lines for every sport, including the UFC, this is low on their priority list this week when they have so many other things to worry about. And I think this line, as you just alluded to, is misplaced.
I think it might be minus 135. Jared Gordon would be more appropriate.
I would agree with that. How do you see Jared Gordon winning? Do you agree with my decision pick, or do you think he might get a finish?
100%. I think both of these guys are gritty as heck, man. Gritty, gritty, gritty. Like, if I'm going to describe them, they're dogs. Like, they'll get beat up. They're not explosive really on the feet, but they're good boxing, good wrestling, good grappling, and they don't stop.
For sure. All right, let's move over to the co-main event as we're just breezing through this card now.
I know these last two.
We got Rob Font versus David Martinez. Not the original co-main event, of course, but still the co-main event nonetheless. Biggest step up in competition for Martinez of his career. I just think Rob Font is just simply better everywhere, and I think this may be a step too early for Martinez, who has a chance to be a bright star. I just don't know if he'll be able to keep up with the level of just an overall skill set like Rob Font, where I expect him to use his boxing, stay at distance and range, use his Muay Thai a little bit, and set up his strike to set up the takedown. And if he can take down Martinez and hold him there, I think it's going to be a long, grueling fight. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's going to be Rob Font 29-28 after an explosive David Martinez first round. But, man, they keep giving these young guns to Rob Font, and he keeps beating them, and I'm not going to stop picking Rob Font until he loses to one of these guys.
I would agree with that.
Then this main event, big fight. I was picking Gene Silva this entire time. I'm like, oh, Gene Silva's going to beat Diego Lopez. Gene Silva's going to beat Diego Lopez. The amount of disrespect on Diego Lopez's name has made me totally change my tune. And am I going to be wrong? Maybe. But plus 235 underdog to Diego Lopez.
It's pretty wild, isn't it?
Wild. Just went to the championship with Vulcan, won 2 rounds. Just beat Brian Ortega, knocked him out cold, woke him up, and beat him for 3 rounds. Went to war with Dan Ige on 4 hours' notice. Went to war with Movsar Evloev on a week and a half's notice. Knocked out Pat Sabatini cold. I'm like, I see all those names, and I see the names on Gene Silva's record, and they aren't even comparable. And Diego Lopez is big, he's strong, he's a good grappler. Head movement's not the best, but dude has a granite chin, and I think this is going to be the first time Gene Silva is going to have something coming back at him that he is not good about. He's not going to be able to do his little wiggly wobbly stuff. And I think Gene Silva or Diego Lopez might walk him down and finish him, man.
Dude, you got me. Dude, you got me cracking up with the with the wiggly wobbly stuff. That's funny because that's exactly how he fights. That's 100% right. 100% right. Um, yeah, I disagree here. Either Silva is knocking him out, or it is a all-out war for 5 rounds that goes down as one of the fights of the year and caps off one of the better fight nights in 2025. Overall, I don't think this card's going to be bad. It's a good appetizer for the main course meal at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. But out of all these fights on the card, if there's one fight you watch on this card, it has to be the main event. It's given how high level it is. Again, there are some other names that we've gone over on this card that we think are attractive and whatnot. But if you're just looking for one fight to hold you over before Canelo Crawford, I would say the main event is a pretty solid choice.
And see, I totally agree. This is going to be a stellar fight. But the one thing that I disagree with everybody, not just you, everybody's saying, oh, Gene Silva knockout or he's going to go to war. I disagree. We've never seen Gene Silva go to war, besides with Kevin Vallejos, who we still don't know how good he is. And I think Diego Lopez, we've seen him go to war. We've seen him win a war. We've seen him flatline him cold. We've seen him submit him cold. We've seen him go 5 rounds in a championship fight. We've seen meatballs coming back at him. You know what I'm saying? Gene Silva hasn't had a single thing to come back at him yet. And there's parts of his fights. Charles Jourdain, 3 takedowns in 6 minutes. Right. Bryce Mitchell landing a ton of strikes on the feet. There's a lot of stuff on tape that I don't like about Gene Silva, where his hands are down. He's doing all this stuff. His opponents respect him too much. Diego Lopez is not that guy. And he's going to go to war with him. I think, if anything, it's going to be Gene Silva knockout or Diego knockout while he's going to war. Like, we've never seen Gene Silva get hit clean. We don't know what happens.
Really?
But we know what happens when Diego does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now it's time for Canelo Crawford real quick.
Yeah, I'm excited to preview this Canelo Crawford fight as well. Let's pop this in here. And again, for those of you who have not gotten the memo by now, I'll say it one more time in case you guys don't know. Canelo Crawford is free with a Netflix subscription. That's right. You don't need pay-per-view for this. It's not $100. It's the first major entry for Zuffa Boxing. They've already had one event. It was a smaller post-open workouts event. They have another one tonight on DAZN. And then, of course, this caps the weekend from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. They're calling it a once-in-a-lifetime fight presented by Riyadh Season, Ring Magazine, Netflix, and, of course, Dana White himself. And, of course, it's headlined by the undisputed super middleweight championship, Canelo Alvarez, 63-2-2, taking on the undefeated 41-0, uber-confident Omaha, Nebraska native Terrence Crawford. I've been looking forward to this fight for almost a year now, and I don't know if I'm riding the train or not, man. But I feel like this is Terrence Crawford's time or no time at all. I think Canelo, from a boxing standpoint, is getting a little bit older. He needs someone to test him a little bit. Bivol was able to do it and win. Of course, Floyd Mayweather back in the day was able to do it and beat Canelo. I feel like Canelo has not fought someone with the level of confidence and the amount of power that Terrence Crawford has. And I think it's going to be one of those fights where Canelo looks good early. He stays in range. His pace is good. And then by round 6 and 7 is when you see the old legend start to slow down a little bit. And that's when Crawford's hands are just going to come together, and he's going to really start coming forward, and he's going to find a knockout shot at some point between rounds 8 through 12, in my opinion. So I think Crawford knocks Canelo out, and I think Crawford is going to be known as the best non-heavyweight boxer on the planet comes Monday morning, to where everybody's going to be talking about Crawford defining his legacy as one of the as one of the best boxers of this generation, and clearly, to me, the face of 168 pounds. What do you think?
Man, I'm going with Canelo here. I think going from 147 to 168 is a big jump, man. I think it's a big jump.
Okay, do you believe the rumors that Crawford's shoulder may be compromised?
I do. I think every single fighter has something going in the fight, and if that's what got leaked, I believe it. I think Canelo has struggled with the bigger fighters and Floyd. Man, I think he's gonna get it done here, and I think it's gonna be a close decision, like you're saying, like early Canelo, middle of the fight Crawford picks it up, late in the fight Canelo picks it up again, and it's Mexican Independence Day. Gonna be a little. I think it's gonna be an iffy decision.
Just like
Also,
just like boxing usually is what you're getting at.
yep. And the betting odds very close, minus 180 to Canelo Alvarez and plus 140 to Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those where you want to tread lightly from a betting perspective. I would almost argue, I would do two different prop bets. I would have one where it's inside the distance for either fighter, or it goes to a decision. That way things balance each other out if one wins and one loses. That's how I would. That's how I would bet on this fight. I wouldn't pick a winner. I think I would pick a prop instead. What about you?
I agree. Like I'd be like if you have no idea. So I think boxing there's going to be I don't think it's going to be a knockout. I think it's going to be a decision. I'd bet on that. But the other fight on this card I wanted to talk about briefly, Callum Walsh versus Fernando Vargas. And the biggest thing to me like Callum Walsh is a massive favorite here and
Doesn't make
I
sense.
don't understand.
Doesn't make sense. He has not fought the same level of competition, not even close, as Fernando Vargas. And this is no disrespect because you know how much I'm a fan of his.
I'm a
But
massive fan of Callum Walsh, but he
no,
just
no, 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 no. I wasn't gonna say that. I was
oh,
gonna say, you know how much of a fan I am of Dana and the way he promotes and stuff. This had to be to me, this had to be a cherry picked co-main event spot because, as people should be, people are outraged that this fight is above an interim championship fight, and I get it's for an interim title, but I don't know, and I think we're gonna find out if Callum Walsh is really all that because Fernando Vargas is a beast. That's why, even though as much as I want to see Walsh win, and it would be the biggest win of his career, I just don't see how he wins. I really don't. And I think the pure boxing analysts know this. They feel almost identical to how I'm talking about this fight now, where it's almost like Vargas has to win or it's complete bust.
I agree. Like, I just don't understand what people see. I love Callum Walsh. He's a great fighter. I just saw him go to like a very close decision with a janitor. Like, man, Fernando Vargas does not do that. You know what I mean? Fernando Vargas is a top level fighter. Yeah, that last fight, technical decision. Before that, Ismail Vilriev, super close fight. Like,
Yeah,
man,
like the Carlos Ortiz fight was nothing special if you remember that. The Velisco fight was extremely boring. Like he's fought some names where you sit there and you go, who in the world are half of these fighters that he's beat? You know what I mean?
and
The
you'll do that
the
for
the
everybody, but
one guy, but you got to give one guy credit though. At least, even though this is a few years ago, you have to give Wesley Tucker credit that he at least hung in there before he was finished. So I don't know. What
no,
do you
I
think?
agree. I just think Fernando Vargas he's the better fighter. He's the better fighter. Like he's yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, 17-0. I mean, look at this. He's won, what is it, 4 out of his last 5 by KO TKO. That's nothing. That's nothing to snooze at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're better. They're better people. Like, I don't know. Like Gonzalo Correa. Maybe not the best boxer of all time, but it's better than the people Callum Walsh is fighting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. And if you think about it, he's been arguably more active than Walsh has over the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Because Walsh only fights 1 to 2 times a year. You know that. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. It is a very interesting weekend of fights. We've got Gable Stevenson's debut as well.
yeah, we could get into that briefly. 1 second. Here we go. I'm taking him.
Me
I'm
too. I think this is a fun fight too. Minnesota Gophers are the main and co-main event. Mitch McKee Gable Steveson. It's an interesting fight, man. No easy matchups. This is a tough one for your debut.
No, it sure is. I mean, when's the last time you saw hype for someone's MMA debut like you have for Gable Steveson? I think you have to go back a long time to
Aaron
find.
Pico, baby.
Oh yeah, Aaron Pico's debut was huge. I mean, I would even go back as far as say Sage Northcutt when he made when he first burst onto the scene. Everybody wanted to know
CM Punk,
what a 19-year-old surfer dude looked like. Yes, CM Punk, I would agree. Probably you'd have to throw Brock Lesnar in there.
Brock Lesnar. Like this is a massive debut, and the biggest thing, like they didn't give him a layup either. Like Brandon Pearson is a legit fighter. 4 of his last 5 are wins.
Yeah, the big difference though is not to crap on Peterson here, but starting your career at 37 is kind of bad news as opposed to a guy who's 25.
I agree. But I'm just happy they picked someone with wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm surprised though, and I don't know if you are, I'm surprised with how much hype his debut is getting that he's not the main event. That's the like I feel like his fight is getting more buzz than the actual main event on this card himself. And maybe that's my arrogance of not really paying attention to as much regional MMA as I should. But you would think, given the way the media is covering him, you would think that he was headlining LFA 217 tomorrow when he isn't.
You would think so, but I'm gonna praise Mitch McKee here. 9-0, has had a bunch of fights in LFA, has worked his way to the title, and this is his main event. This is his time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So do you think if he wins, he'll get a contender series call?
He's got to get a finish, man. He would have probably 3 or 4 fights ago already, but he has had a couple stinky decision wins.
And is I don't know much about. Oh no, Bray, is this guy a journeyman or is he a legit?
Yeah, no, Mitch McKee should win this fight, but
Okay.
it's just one of those things. He's got to get a finish. He's got to be exciting to want to get there.
Okay, so is this almost? I mean, would you go a step further and say this is almost a setup fight for McKee to show out?
I would say it's a setup fight in the way that it's the best opponent he's ever faced. 22-8 is pretty good.
Do you think a McKee second round knockout is a solid prediction?
I think so. Listen, I'm going Mitch McKee by decision. I think that's just how he is. But if you just go back to this card real quick, I want to shout out some people in here. We've got some very good prospects.
Okay.
We've got Shea Bowers. She's going to be in the UFC. Mount my words.
Okay.
Nikita Kolshin. He's going to be in the UFC. Mark my words. Christian Turner. Going to be in the UFC. Watch my words. And then keep going down here. Maybe not UFC quite yet. We don't know. But Kelton Sneevy, Elijah Gomez, Mitch Wilson, all very good debuting and young prospects in their own right.
I mean, is Isaiah Pinson a name to watch or not really yet?
I'm unaware. He might be. I've seen him around, but those are the people I know, and those are the people I'm confident in.
Okay, and is there anyone that's like a huge red flag on this card where if they won, you'd be really surprised?
If you go back up a little bit here, sure. I would say I wouldn't even be surprised, but I would say Bobby Lee and Joey Hart, they're tough vets. They're tough vets, and anything can happen. But I think both guys on the right, Nikita Kolshin and Christian Turner, are going to get the job done.
Okay. Let's take a look at Joey Hart here. Oh, yeah, I remember he fought in Contender. Yep. He got absolutely destroyed. I remember I remember this. Yeah.
No, it was a super close decision of wrestling.
Oh yeah, wrong fight. You're right.
But in LFA,
that's right. It was a really close fight in a fight that in a fight that I'm pretty sure now that if I remember correctly that I think Dana was cool with, like whoever won, he may give them a chance, and Bennett was able to edge him out. I remember this now.
Yes. And Chris Mixon, he's a great prospect. He just signed with PFL. But I think Christian Turner is legit, man. I think Christian Turner is legit.
Yeah, and Mixon won his PFL debut about a month or so ago in a very, very impressive win
Yeah,
against a
for
guy
sure.
who against the guy who I thought was going to be a tough out, and he clearly was not. So
No, Chris Mixon's very good. Christian Turner, Atlanta guy, moved down to ATT training with Dustin Poirier for his last fight. He's legit. And same as Nikita Kolosin. Those are two guys right there that I'd watch out for. And Shea Bowers and Gable.
okay, so you think overall this card is a pretty solid card, is what you're
Pretty stacked on the top here. Like Kolosin, maybe not the most exciting guy, but he's good.
okay. I'm trying to think if there was one. Oh yeah. I'd say I guess because this is more your wheelhouse. If people have never watched LFA before, um, why is this the first LFA card that they should tune into outside of course, Gable? And I only watch LFA when I can, but I feel like this is an LFA card I can't miss just because it's Gable's debut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love LFA. I watch it every time I can. I think it's the best organization, like feeder to the UFC on Fight Pass via talent. I think the matchups are always competitive, which is hard to find on the regional. And I think everybody fighting there knows they're one step away from the UFC, so everybody's turned up.
For sure. So that's going to do it for another edition of the MMA Outsiders. It was a packed 40-minute plus episode. For Jack Gold, my name is Zambano. Enjoy the fights this weekend, Jack. Are there any parting words you'd like to end with as we wrap the stream and eventually move into a new week next week?
Man, I'm excited for this weekend, man. We've got Thursday night football tonight. We've got fights tomorrow. We've got no Saturday.
And we have Thursday night Zuffa boxing tonight too.
We got Zuffa boxing tonight. We've got all sorts of fun stuff cooking this week. We've got something happening. Zuffa boxing and football tonight. We've got football and LFA tomorrow. We've got Noche and Canelo Crawford Saturday. We got NFL Week 2 Sunday. We got NFL Monday Night Football Monday. We've got Dana White's Contender Series Tuesday. And then we're back at it again. It's loaded.
Yeah, it's a loaded September, and it's a busier September than I anticipated, even with no UFC pay per view, which is a really interesting change of pace. We'll have so much to recap next week, but until then, we hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy all the fights, regardless of which order you're watching them in, or regardless of which fight you're most in tune with. But please be sure, if you guys don't do anything else, I would highly, highly suggest tuning into this Netflix broadcast. I think it's going to be great. It's John Anik and Max Kellerman on the call. It's going to be a UFC style production, and Dana White confirmed to the Ring Magazine and the new Ring Boxing show that just came out the other day that the event will be the same pace of a UFC event, which means regardless of how many fights there are, I think it's a total of 10 fights or something. The pacing is going to be just like a UFC, so it's not going to be one fight, as Dana White likes to say, a podcast in the middle, and then next fight it's going to be one fight, one after another, and then it should be a breeze. I'm excited to see a boxing production that should be done the right way this week, and as opposed to the wrong way, because you and I would probably agree that the UFC's pacing is the best in combat sports.
100%.
Yep. So that's going to do it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week. Cheers, everyone.